And welcome to At Issue, the first program of the 28th season of At Issue. I thank you so much for joining us. My name is H. Wayne Wilson, and for the next half hour, we're going to discuss the health of the city of Peoria because the health of the city is directly related to its primary school district. And in the case of the city of Peoria, District 150 is that school district. And I'm more than pleased to welcome back to Peoria Dr. Sharon Desmoulins-Carrot. Dr. Carrot, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, H. My pleasure.
When I say welcome back, just a little bit of history. Roosevelt School, Whittier School, Manual Academy, then where?
Then Springfield for 2 years as a transformation officer. So I worked with the entire district as it related to school reforms, and then Danville as the associate superintendent of schools for 2 years.
And if I may, it seems that District 150 every so often seems to come back to its roots. Dr. Whitaker came up through the system, Ken Hinton came up through the system, and now here's Dr. Carrot coming up through the system, although you did go to Springfield and Danville. What's it like coming back, having had the experience at the other school districts, and what does that bring to District 150 in your opinion?
Yeah, it's so nice to be back, and this is home, and it's a perfect fit. I love our community. I love Peoria. I love our kids. I love the people who reside in our city and this area, the Tri-County area. And so I'm going to work very, very hard to move our district from good to great, along with all of our stakeholders, and we can do that.
And your experience in Springfield and Danville better prepares you?
Definitely. I was able to shadow a man, Mark Denman, in Danville. He worked in that system for 40 years. Great superintendent, great style. We worked very, very well together, and I learned a lot from them. I worked with the board also. As the associate superintendent, we worked hand in hand, and we did everything together. We had daily meetings, and Springfield was also a very good experience regarding school reforms, best practices. So it was not a bad idea to get away for a little bit, for 4 years. And I was sort of in training, which prepared me for coming back to implement some of the great things that I've learned.
And you come back as interim superintendent. There's no promise that after next summer that you'll stay. Was there hesitation in that regard?
Not really. I wanted to come back and help our district. Taking the risk to come back was the same risk I took in Danville. Every year they gave me a 1-year contract. So, and that's a recommendation I made to them for improvement for the next person in that position. They really need to consider either a 3-year contract or a 5-year contract. But it was the same risk. So, hey, why not take a risk on my hometown?
That brings to mind comparing the technique that your predecessor had, where I believe every principal was changed out within 2 years, except maybe one. And you seem to believe more in stability.
Oh, yeah, stability is so important. You're better able to develop relationships, deeper relationships, not only with students and families, but also stakeholders within that area. It's a best practice. I don't understand the other rationale, but in terms of that, let's look at, for example, Keller. Mr. Turner has been there for many, 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 many years. When I was at Whittier, I was at Whittier for 7 years and was able to develop amazing relationships with Bradley University. We received student teachers, observers, all of the stakeholders and our supporters in the outlining area. The families were amazing. My PTO, I could call on them at any time. The kids, it makes perfect sense to nurture and mold that position with such that it's stable. I mean, it just makes perfect sense when we're moving kids from home to home, right? And we talk about mobility, and that is not a good thing, right? Mobility in terms of attendance and enrollment, that's not a good thing. So it's the same idea regarding moving principals around. It's really not a good thing.
In general, what do you bring to District 150 at this point in time that will move it from good to great, in your words?
I think my leadership style, one of, as I told you earlier, service leadership. I'm a servant leader, and it's someone with the following characteristics: humility, accountability. I'll hold people accountable. Service. I seek counsel. It's purposeful, and there's also accountability there and empowerment. So the focus on the budget, I'm really determined in terms of fiscal management, fiscal responsibility, helping to get that down, and we're moving in that direction. One with a focus on not only rigorous ambition, rigorous instruction, but also that piece on social emotional learning and exposing kids to that side by how to get along, how to respect each other, how to work with each other, how to problem solve with each other. That piece is needed not only for students but for staff, providing more strategies in that sense. Those 5 essentials that I've spoken with staff about: effective leadership, rigorous or ambitious instruction needs to happen, and we're talking about how it should be happening. Where teachers are collaborating, that's really an important essential to move the district forward. They're brainstorming, they're planning, they're talking about what kids need to know, and they're talking about who's getting it and who isn't, and what they're going to do if kids aren't getting it. An environment where the community is engaged in the district and in the schools, and it's supportive of families. So those pieces are very, very, very important as we move forward.
I want to talk about the budget in just a moment, but first, collaboration has come up, relationships has come up. You've met with leaders of the city of Peoria. I referenced the city at the start. What can you tell me about what can the city bring? What have you talked about so far that can help the district?
Yeah, we have ongoing dialogue with the city, and I'm optimistic about that. We've talked about a variety of topics, from Peoria Promise to TIFs, to even snow removal, and who is responsibility for doing what and when, and and then at some point we'll talk about some additional support from the city. So it's a vibrant conversation, and it's fluid, and it's ongoing. So I'm optimistic about our relationship with the city.
Let me reference the TIFs, tax increment financing districts. There are about 10 of them in the city, and they freeze the tax income for a period of 23 years.
Right.
Is there any, there have been some accommodations in the past for the district. Is there any progress in that arena, or is it too early yet?
Yeah, and I understand, from the city's perspective, we're trying to invite individuals to come into our area, especially quote unquote blighted area, and infuse jobs and into the economy, and thus the economic vibrancy. So that makes a lot of sense. But then on the other hand, the district is sort of stymied and stifled regarding additional revenues. So it's sort of that catch to being caught in the middle. So we'll have to continue to have conversations in terms of how we could assist the district in getting some additional funds, because it's needed.
And we'll find about the lack of funds in just a moment, but your relationships, how about with the union?
It's actually extremely well. It's going well. They're important because I always say that's the boots on the ground. They're in the firing lines. They're in the classrooms, and so my philosophy is more about teacher leaders, and that is where we're going to really see amazing improvement. And they're critical in taking our district to the next level, and so they have to also not only buy in but take on that ownership. regarding good instruction and great practices. So we collaborate. We've collaborated well on a variety of things. I'm in contact with them practically, if not every day, on every other day. And the good thing with technology, we can text and we can send emails. And we have conversations about class sizes, conversations about the arts committee, just a variety of conversations. They're very supportive. They're very excited. And many of them, they know my style. It's I can tell the winders, so they know, I'm about people, and that's the difference between managers and leaders. Managers, you focus on the task. Leaders, you really focus on investing in people. And actually, we're working together with the union regarding providing additional support for our new teachers. They're really excited about that. And when we invest in people, then they're better prepared then to focus on the task. And so it's cordial, and I think it's a good relationship right now.
What about Change 150, a citizen group that formed out of the uproar at Charter Oak? Have you talked with any members of Change 150? Is that organization supportive? Is it a good thing that something like Change 150 occurred?
I talk with practically everyone. I've gotten lots of emails from a variety of individuals, from air conditioning and what needs to be done. And we have 11 buildings that still need to be air conditioned, and it will cost about $40 million to do that. So we're always looking for individuals with great ideas that are going to assist our district and move into the next level. But yeah, people pop in or they call. I do tend to return all of my calls that same day. So yeah, no one will be excluded.
And have you talked with Change 150? The leaders of Change 150, C. Stipe or any of the others?
C. Stipe, not really, no.
Okay, all right.
Unless if is he a parent? I think he's a parent.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And I've been attending the PTOs, the various PTOs, and I've been talking to families and parents that way individually, but I've not had an official meeting with Change 150.
Okay. You mentioned PTOs. At a recent school board meeting, it was mentioned that 8 schools, at least at the time of the school board meeting, did not have PTOs, which surprised me a little bit. Out of 27 schools, 8 did not have PTOs.
Right.
Important to you?
Very, very, very important. And we are moving in a great direction, in the right direction, because since then we have 2 schools that have started, and it's a very vibrant and robust group. And Sterling, for example, middle school is one of those. They're doing a great job at Sterling. The building is beautiful, and it's an IB program also, and they have some great families that have convened, and they're well on their way to doing some fantastic things.
The 2 challenges that I see, the 2 biggest challenges, are 77%, the last number I saw, 77% of the students in District 150 fall into the federal poverty guideline, fall under it. And then the other one is the budget. Can we talk a little bit about how the challenge that 77% number presents?
It is, it's with the poverty, there's some residual effects, right? So does it make the job a little bit more difficult? Yes. Can we defy the odds? Yes. And so do we have to do things differently? Yes. And it's a sign of, our America overall, how things have changed. There is a book that I'm going to look at, and it's called The Opportunities Gap. So those are some of the things that we have to look at, doing things differently, and getting individuals who can really understand that plight and that situation, and looking at even policies that sometimes are not good to move us forward. So yeah, it makes the job much more difficult, but we can still teach students to read and to problem solve and to write, and we can still prepare them for the vision. I mean, for the future, and we can, realize our vision, which is to graduate and educate every kid to be self-sufficient in the world of work. So we can do it. Does it make the job? The job is a little bit more difficult, yes, but it's doable.
Family involvement is one of your goals.
Yes.
Is that part of the book? Because every time we hear you want to improve education,
Right.
involve the family. How are you going to go about that?
And we have, there's some great things happening in our district. I was at Keller last night, and there were over 200, I'm not kidding you, there were over 200 families there for their open house. And it was just beautiful to see. I was at Northmore, and Northmore also had a huge turnout. I will be going to Thomas Jefferson today, and another building. I believe it's not Peoria High, but it might be. And I was at Sterling for Parent University. We had over 200 parents who attended. So it's a matter of developing relationships with families and saying, hey, you know what, we're partners, and that's critical. The involvement of families are very, very critical to the success of the children. So once we were able to work with parents and get them to say, hey, you know what, we care about your kids, we're in this together, you're welcome, you're not going to be judged, we respect your thoughts, we respect your ideas, let's put our heads together for the betterment of the kid, we will continue to see increased family involvement.
You're talking about visiting this school and this group and talking to people, and you visited all 27 schools in the first 2 days of school.
That's correct. And I visited Quest this morning.
Do you have, is this detracting from your ability to lead, or is that part of leadership?
That's part of leadership. And that's something I learned in Danville. My superintendent, he was all over the place. Granted, there were 11 buildings, and we have 27 buildings. But we got out, we communicated with individuals, we got a sense of what was going on. But yeah, it's critical. It's a very critical piece to lead in. You have to kind of stay in touch and in tune with your individuals who are working with you along with you to fulfill the vision and the mission. Find out how they're doing. I like to find out how they're doing. What can I do to assist? And also, I visited the buildings because I said I want to feel your experiences. I want to feel your pain. I would like to get a sense of the temperatures in the buildings, for example. And I'll talk to kids. How was it today? What was the temperature like? And that sort of thing.
Let's talk budget. And I don't want to throw a lot of numbers at our audience, but $13 million in the hole for the school year just concluded. You want to turn that around to a positive of about $4 million in 4 years. In general, how are you going to do that?
Yeah, so continue to recommend some additional reduction. I think there's still room for that. So reducing expenses and also increasing revenues through grant writing, and hopefully the city can assist also. You talk about what's on the agenda when you guys meet. At some point, it would be nice to have a conversation with them regarding that. And just being more fiscally responsible. I think once we're aligned and we're well calibrated, we may have to come to the citizens and say, hey, here are some options, here's some opportunities, because they're huge needs, right? We talk about 40 million, about 40 million is needed to air conditioned a couple of buildings. And some of those classrooms are really, really warm. And it's just the temperature. When you add the heat index, you can add another 3-5 degrees, and it could get to over 100. So yeah, there's some needs, but we also have to be fiscally responsible and be efficient with taxpayers' dollars, and also give them something to be proud of.
One of the challenges you face, and I keep using that word challenge, but state aid, has gone from 99% to 87% of what was specified over a 6-year period. Property taxes, which is 40% of your budget, have been stagnant since 2009. Together, the state general aid and property taxes is 2/3 of your income. And yet you're going to turn a $13 million deficit into a $4 million on the plus in 4 years.
Right. And there's discussion about looking at bonds and maybe getting better interest rates on those. And yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about the class sizes, just a little bit more. K and 1, first grade and kindergarten, aren't going to have larger class sizes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Why is that so critical? And 2nd through 12 may have larger class size.
That's correct. There's a grant of first grade grant reduction. So there are dollars that are infused into our budget to sort of cap the enrollment for those 2 levels. And today, actually, there's a committee meeting to take a look building by building, look at the numbers, teacher-student ratio, and just monitor and make adjustments if necessary. So we're looking at it and also working very closely with the union on that.
And just to be clear, I want to make sure that the audience understands when we talk about a $13 million deficit this year and turn it into $4 million on the plus side in 4 years, you still have an accumulated deficit that's been growing over time. So you just be kind of taking that $4 million and addressing the accumulated deficit.
That's correct.
Let's talk about some of the outside things that can help. ELITE, the district's funding one school, outside sources are funding another. Harrison and Lincoln, are those the 2?
That's
How important is ELITE?
It's very important. They serve as role models for the kids, and also they help redirect and help with strategies in terms of social, emotional, and overall behavior. So they're very, very, very important to the teachers and to the administrators and to the kids and to the families. It's all about keeping kids in school, but also exposing them to good habits and good manners.
Keeping kids in school, you want to reduce expulsions by 20%. Kids act up. How are you going to go about effecting that?
Right, so what we'll do is look at the triangle. We talked about, you probably heard about the PBIS triangle, Positive Behavior Intervention System. And there are 2 sides. There's that academic side and there's that behavior side. So we'll look at both sides, making sure that academics are engaging, they're relevant. You know, usually research will tell you kids misbehave. Many of them misbehave because they're not engaged or they don't understand what's being taught. So that's one thing. We'll do a better job on that end. And then the other side is that behavior, social, emotional side, continuing to teach them. This is how we get along. This is how we solve problems. And it's okay. We're human beings. Problems are going to be ongoing, but it's not really the problem. It's how we respond to it and how we solve it, and providing strategies for teachers and for kids. There's a big thing now. Teachers love this idea of BIST. It's more about behavior, intervention, support systems, and how to conduct discipline with grace, but holding kids accountable, not escalating, how you approach them. You're not in trouble, but we need to talk about this. And some strategies about buddy seats, safe seats, pulling in parents, that sort of thing, making home visits and those things.
A quick final thought, and that is with regard to Adopt a School. We started talking about the city and other organizations that can help. What about Adopt a School? Who can step forward? Why is that important?
Yeah, that's very important. As a principal at Whittier and even Manual, I had many Adopt a School partners, and they were so supportive and so helpful.
And that disappeared.
So we're going to revitalize that. Principals are excited, and we have a couple of organizations and companies and businesses that have already stepped up and said, hey, we're here, we're willing to help. And that's a great thing. That's inspirational and motivational to me. Everyone has said, we're here, we're willing to help. Retired teachers, retired administrators, we're here to help. Whatever you need, let us know. Businesses have said the same thing, and we're doing that. So I'm excited, and I think our team, they're excited. I have a great team, and we're going to see some improvement.
We note your enthusiasm. Dr. Sharon Desmoulins-Carrat, thank you so much for joining us on At Issue, and thank you for your return to the City of Peoria and District 150.
Thank you.
And we thank you for joining us for the opening program on the 28th season. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Next week we're off, but in 2 weeks we'll be discussing the Warehouse District. Why has it taken 15 years to get where we're at? Next time on At Issue.